This is the $20 AJAZZ AK680 that I'm going to mod to hopefully improve the sound. The box was slightly damaged as it was just shipped in a plastic bag without any other protection, but the keyboard inside does look fine. They include a USB-C cable, switch puller, and some spare switches, which are nice extras. To start the build process, I've got to remove both the keycaps and switches. And as you can see, the AJAZZ branded red switches were included with my specific board. With the keycaps removed, I had a closer look, and the symbols do appear to be printed, so they may scratch off over time if you were to use this keyboard daily. Not a huge deal, but something to note. Although this keyboard is hot swap, the switches are really difficult to remove. Looking at the actual PCB, the sockets are really narrow, so the pins for some switches probably won't fit, which isn't the best as it will significantly limit your options. I've tested quite a few different switches to see what works, and it's a bit of a mystery why some don't fit, as to me the pins look the same, or at least very similar. And sadly it's not even a case of just pushing firmly, they don't even slightly fit. Although it looks like it, the board actually doesn't support 5-pin switches, as there are no pre-cut holes in the PCB, just these white circles where the holes would normally be. But on the plus side, there is some white foam installed between the top plate and PCB, which should help with rattle and reducing unwanted noises. With the switches removed and the top plate screws taken out, let's have a look inside the case. As you can see, the case is completely hollow without any filling, which will negatively impact the sound quality and make it sound quite hollow. Here's a bit of a tip: if you leave 2 switches in place when disassembling the keyboard, it will help keep the top plate, foam and PCB in place, keeping things nice and simple when it comes to reassembly. I've also just realised that the stabilisers are actually pre-lubed, which is nice to see and cuts down on the work we have to do to get this board sounding good. First up for the case mods is the penny mod. It's basically just to add weight to the board, which will help reduce unwanted vibrations and rattle. I'm using a hot glue gun to stick the coins down to the base, but in the past I've also used double-sided sticky tape, which worked just as well. With all the coins attached to the base, there was actually enough space towards the rear of the case to add multiple layers of coins, which will add some extra weight and keep the board as planted as possible. I'm adding a layer of PE foam for more dampening, and to make sure the PCB doesn't touch any of the coins and cause any short-circuiting issues. I just pushed down firmly on the foam around the mounts to create the hole so that the keyboard can be reassembled. I'm not really sure if this final case mod will make much of a difference, but I had these O-rings lying around, so I've balanced them on the case mounts, which in theory will create rubber spacers between the case and PCB, acting like a sort of DIY gasket mount to add some flexibility to the keyboard while you're typing. A problem with this that I did run into is that I couldn't put many O-rings on the centre mount, as the USB-C connector needs to sit quite low in order to fit correctly. Next up, I'm going to be doing the tape mod, which involves covering the back of the PCB with painter's tape to produce more dampening. For this, take any non-conductive painter's tape, which normally has a papery texture and isn't sticky enough to cause any damage, and put multiple layers until the entire back of the PCB is covered. With the tape covering the PCB, I used a small screwdriver to create holes in the tape where the mounts are, so everything can be screwed back together. Do note that off camera I did have to go back and enlarge the holes, but they weren't big enough and the case wouldn't go back together properly. But after a bit of hassle, everything did go back together, and all the screws are now back in place correctly. After testing various switches I had lying around, I found that the best fitting switches were these 2 KTT switches. And in the end I decided to use the KTT Kang White V3 switches, as I thought they sounded very fractionally better. After some careful consideration, I've decided to stick with the original keycaps, as I figure that if any of you out there are going to be buying a keyboard this cheap, it seems a bit crazy to spend more than the entire price of the keyboard just to get some keycaps. And I think the mods I've done so far provide the best value for money improvements. Now it is worth mentioning that there are multiple colour options available if you don't like how this version looks. I couldn't find many others reviewing this specific retro colour variant, so I thought I'd check it out and let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Right, now let's get on to the part you've all been waiting for, the sound tests.